Double clutch.
And a belated happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us here from the Lakeshore Curling Club. It is the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships here on Bell 5 TV1. We've got Stefano Sokolic taking on Sebastian LeFort here. It is, of course, Sheet 1, Game number 1. And as you see, LeFort will be the first to throw here, which means Sokolic will have the hammer throwing the blue stones here in the opening end. So, of course, the teams had a chance to register earlier here at the Curling Club. Had a little bit of practice here, so we'll see if the ice conditions stay the way they are here into this game. Of course, it's a little bit chilly outside so far, based on some of the overhearing and talking maybe to some of the people around here at the Curling Club. Really not going to be much of effect as we take a look at Aidan McNutt. Throws lead stone here for Sebastian LeFort team out of Sydney, Nova Scotia, here at the Junior Curling Championships. And so far right now, the Couture and McKenzie just are guiding it here, and this may come into a little bit heavier than what they'd like. And it will come to a stop. Actually, there it is. It does go a little bit deep there, so we'll see how things go. And of course, you have a little bit of jitters here because all of a sudden things change. You got the cameras going on and everything. By the way, my name's Dan Hobson. Glad you can join us. And our producer is Chuck Calder here on Bell 5 TV1's coverage as we take a look at Jeremy Grondin here out of the Mayflower Curling Club here. And all of a sudden, nice little brushing there by Sokolic at the last second to brush that aside. So a little bit of a miss here by the team out of the Mayflower Curling Club. Come in there, not having too bad of a season here so far. Fourth in the Nova Scotia Junior A curling standings. So we'll see what McNutt does here. See as he tries to guard that one that's there in the top of the 12-foot area belonging to him. And right now you can see that once again the front end of Couture and McKenzie. McNutt calling line, and look like they're going to get it over the hog line. They sure do. It would be a little bit of a long guard, but we'll see if it has a little bit of an opening as we'll come rest on the center line area. So you can see probably about 3/4 of a rock. What you see right there is what we'll see from the end. See what Grondin can do here on his second throw here. A little bit of pressure here by the LeFort team. Well by the guard. They said they can see about 3/4 of the rock, and they'll push the yellow out. And the blue will come just stop just on the edge of the 12-foot area. They'll be lying 1. But as you can see, it's completely easily accessible. The guard really not much of a factor. So that's a good bounce back shot there for Grondin there after making the miss there, as the lead's having a little bit of difficulty there. Of course, that one was not really supposed to go that deep, and Grondin with the miss. So as you say, a little bit of nerves here in the early going here. Day number 1 and draw number 1 right now. They have not laid a brush to it here, the front end. Looks like it'll be just a nose hit, and they will bump it. And LeFort will brush it out the rest of the way. So they'll exchange shots here in the early going. Of course, what's so great about calling curling matches here is that you actually get a chance to hear what the athletes are saying. Of course, there's other sheets going on, and we'll keep you up to date on that. Of course, we've got coverage on sheet C. Ryan Abraham versus Justin Gray. And they'll get a piece of the rock and will push towards the outside, just hang on, just outside of the rings. So that's a pretty good shot because they didn't really want to leave anything there for them to bury and get under. So push to the side. So now basically they're on to the way things are looking right now. We could be on our way to a blank, but of course stranger things have happened here in this sport. As we take a look at Reese Couture. And right now you can see McKenzie and McNutt getting the most they can onto that broom, and maybe he might have hogged it here, and it's going to come up just short, and that's what happens. And teams, of course, as I said, they've been sort of giving each other chances, and now, of course, Sokolic here out of Sydney can now get that guard removed and keep a open house. Of course, Sokolic here, both throwing the blue stones, has the hammer here in end number 1. Throws the big weight here, and he'll nose the rock and push it out. So we've got a clean house, just 1 rock in play right now, and that is belonging to Sokolic, as you'll see it right there. Has that guard there on the outside edge of the 12-foot area. So the team's, of course, trying to get their feel here. Not really much time for like a practice to get to see how the ice conditions go, and for some of these teams, of course, first chance to see what this ice will do. So it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process, that's for sure. Of course, as I said, there's other games taking place. Matthew Manuel, the defending champion, will taking on Ethan Young. That should be a dandy of a matchup. Of course, Manuel, 3rd in the Nova Scotia junior curling rankings versus number 5, Ethan Young. And that is on sheet B. We've got scores, of course, will be posted. So as long as the participants put the score up, we'll gladly keep you up to date on that one. And of course, Graham Weigel having himself a fantastic year, number 1 in the curling standings, taking on Logan Sweeney. Logan Sweeney out of the Yarmouth Curling Club, and that is on sheet E. And of course, our one that we'll be focusing our attention on is LeFort versus Sokolic here as we're into the first end. And as you see, pretty well not much taking place. So it looks like we'll be, as I said earlier, we'll be on our way to the blank. But as I say, stranger things have happened, and that's why you play the sport. Really a good chance here during this, if you're, have conservative play, basically see what sheets are going. You may have a straighter path along the outsides, maybe curling. Good chance here for both teams to test the ice here. And once again, Team LeFort here definitely would like it for Sokolic to take one, but right now it doesn't look like that's really in the cards, but as they say, anything can happen. That will come up just out there, and Sokolic not wasting any time. Wants to get rid of the shrapnel just like that. A little bit of light brushing there for line. And they'll get a piece of the rock and goes towards the back and out. So just like that, we're into skip rocks here in the first end. Of course, this is also very good for time clock purposes. Not sure if we've had a picture of the time clock there yet, but of course they have thinking time, and right now, as we take a look at LeFort, as we're into skip rocks here and end number 1, moving along pretty quickly. Definitely, I think that's definitely the game plan for both these teams, is to see what the ice can do and also see what the opposition is going to do. As this one may come up just biting, and that looked a little bit probably heavier than what they want, so they'll go towards the back 8-foot area. So here's Stefano Sokolic, once again out of the Mayflower Curling Club here, as the last rock hammer here in end number 1 as we're into skip rocks. And right now his front end here of Gronlund and Kessler guiding the rock down the sheet, and they'll get a piece of the rock and roll out. So we'll see what LeFort will do, see if he can actually go to the other side of the sheet. Maybe make, of course, the next throw here for Sokolic difficult. So this one, as I said, moving along pretty quickly, and just only one rock in play right now, and that's to the outside of the sheet and well outside the rings there, belonging to Sokolic. So the last rock here for LeFort here in end number 1. Really has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Couture and McNutt. Now they're going to get off of it right now, as Nicholas McKenzie is calling line. And it will stop there in the 4-foot area, just kissing the tee line. Definitely like the strategy. They went from one side of the sheet to the other, making sure that it was really difficult here for Sokolic. We're to the final stone here in end number 1. Sokolic looking here to remove the yellow stone and try to get rid of the shooter to carry the hammer here at end number 2. And just like that, a nose hit for a single point. So LeFort was kind of hoping for the Sokolic to take one, and he does. So LeFort will now have the hammer here in end number 2. As they take a quick look, once again, other action taking place. Logan Sweeney versus Graham Weigel, and that is on sheet number E beside us. So far, they've got nothing across the board there on that game. Matthew Manuel, they're still that one's still going on right now. There's a lot more rocks in play in that one on that sheet. So if we get a score, we'll pass that along to you. Of course, we have Ryan Abraham versus Justin Gray. I have nothing to report on that one as of yet. So here we are into the second in. LeFort now has the hammer, throwing the yellow stones here at the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships here on Bell 5 TV 1. My name is Dan Hobbs. Our producer is Chuck Calder, and we are delighted here to be with you. Happy holidays, and we hope you had a good Christmas, and glad you can join us here for some fantastic curling action. And of course, a chance to represent Nova Scotia at the Canadian Junior Curling Championships, which are sponsored by Blue Line New Holland, and they are going to be in Shawinigan, and it's pretty early in the new year for that. Those championships are going to be from January 13th to the 21st. Of course, everything's pretty well aided up here, or everything's gone a little bit quick, and just getting a piece, and they'll get enough to push the blue one out. As I say, they'll represent Nova Scotia at the championships in January. With the Olympics, everything's pretty well pushed up. There's Team Sokolic right now representing the Mayflower Curling Club. Will sail towards the back and be on the center line, back 8. Got to think, I'm sure that they're pretty happy that this first end is done and over with. As we take a look at Aiden McNutt here at a Team LeFort. So far, Couture and McKenzie, it just shows they say they're not touching it. Now they are. They're putting a good scrub. They're getting some good help there from the front end. And they held the line. And they'll get rid of the blue one. The yellow one will go as well. So pretty well, this is how they were planning this first end to go. Of course, there was a couple misses there by, of course, McNutt and Grondin there. So here's Max Kessler. And so far, Sokolic and Grondin have not laid a brush to this at all, so this could be a little bit hot. LeFort right there, he can start brushing it as soon as it goes after the tee line, and it does, and he'll scrub it out the rest of the way. And you can sort of tell that had a little bit too much weight on it based on the reaction there, the front end, never laying a brush to it at all. So I see what the game plan here is. LeFort, he's got the hammer, would like to get his 2 here. He forced Sokolic to 1 there and in number 1. Reese Couture. There is McNutt once again, as well as McKenzie. They're letting off now, so Weagle right there. Can he scrape it out the rest of the way? He's working hard. It's going to stop there, and nice piece of work there by Weagle to get it out the rest of the way. So a couple of hot shots here. A couple of hot rocks for both teams as they've returned the favor to each other here so much. A door was open there for both teams there in that first end. And of course, a couple misses, and then those 2 shots that went heavy there. So Sokolic now, as well as Grondin. Not laying too much of a brush there. As you see, just a little bit of a update on things. Weagle calls the game, and now LeFort trying to get it out, and it will come to the back 12. Not really a helpful stone there to them, as so many options here for LeFort. See what he does. Definitely, of course, would like to keep. There's McNutt and McKenzie working hard here on this one, trying to hold the line to keep it. Will they get a piece of it? Yes, they do, and they actually get a bit of a roll still to the back 12 to lie 1. team from Sydney Curling Club having a pretty good showing here so far. Forced Sokolic to take a point there in number 1. And as we take a look at Scott Weigel, Sokolic will now, Sokolic will now go to call line, and it will be Gronlund and Kessler here, front end here. Basically, they were just passengers along for that one, and that's a nose hit and goes towards the back. So we're into third rocks here in number 2. And almost just a little bit similar to this last in. We didn't have a lot of rocks in play, but the same case here. You see the one yellow handled stone belonging to LeFort well outside towards the back. Here's McKenzie. Not sure if they sort of slipped coming out of the hack, but he didn't look really all that comfortable here. In the meantime, Couture and McNutt do a great job to keep the line there. Nose hit and push the rock there, just biting the back 8. July 1. Here's Weigel. And they haven't laid a brush to this. I did it all by himself. Rose the yellow stone, the blue will go to the back. So McKenzie, once again, going to be asked here by Skip Sebastian LeFort. Put this one in play, so I guess that's just his normal delivery. Don't really see that sort of with a little bit of a different delivery. Thought he might have slipped, but now we have a chance to take a look at that again, and that was the case. That's his normal delivery. Once again, McNutt and Couture there. LeFort right there, calling line as well, looking at it, and will come into the house July 1. At the top of the 8-foot area. So we're into fourth rocks, and Stefano Sokolic here, going to throw some big weight at it. And the nose hit. Of course, this we're into the fourth stone here. LeFort puts the broom down for McKenzie, and now we'll head up to the ice here. Definitely got to be careful. This one's getting like a little bit more towards the outside. It's definitely off the sliding path, so it may be run a little bit straighter here, but of course they've had a chance to work with the ice earlier here today. Teams started coming in here for this championship around 9 o'clock this morning to register, and had a little bit of a pre-competition, sort of chance to practice. Of course, if you're in the Sackville area watching this, by all means, come on out. We've got some seating there right along the ice area. And, a flash there by the skip on sheet E. So they update things around there. So far, no score on the game on sheet number E, which is Graham Weigel and Logan Sweeney. So you see right now, we're back to our game, focusing our game. One yellow stone belonging to LeFort here. Last rock here for Sokolic, team out of Sydney. Nose hit right there, so LeFort puts the broom down for McKenzie here, so this is, of course, a makeable shot, and of course at this level, of course, with this competition, is a shot that should be made, but not really the gimme here, because not only you're asking the rock to go a good distance to try to get out and also remove the shooter as well. So here we are, final stone, end number 2. LeFort looking to blank and carry the hammer over into 3. And the front end working hard right away. So a little bit of a defensive game here for your viewing pleasure here on Bell 5 TV 1. And he does get a piece of the rock, and the shooter goes out as well. So he'll carry the hammer in to end number 3. So Sokolic, of course, with the single point there in the end number 1, the force there by LeFort. So 1-0's where we stand after 2 ends of play here at the Lakeshore Curling Club. It is the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships here on Bell 5 TV 1. My name is Dan Hobson. Glad you can join us here. Draw 1, day number 1 of the men's competition. We'll have the women's draw number 1 coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. So once again, LeFort has the hammer here in end number 3, throwing the yellow stones. What work there by Sokolic and Kessler there as Jeremy Grondin there's first throw comes in towards the house. LeFort showing some good communication here. Already talking to his front end, Aiden McNutt, his lead here. So this is almost like one of those old-time curling games where they used to have, of course, pretty well as the peel game and Noddle Roddle rocks in play. That's the case in point right now. Just the 1 point, and that was a force. It was more of an error. They were trying to get the blanket carried over to 2, Sokolic was, but they ended up sticking here. So LeFort now feeling pretty comfortable, deciding to basically put up a guard, and so looks like we may have a little bit of a game on right now as he has decided to ignore that blue stone. As we take a look at Weagle, interesting situation here. Weagle calls the game, and Stefano Sokolic does do like the does throw the last rock, and they've almost given up on this right away, and they just decided, I'm not sure if it knew it had a lot of weight, or didn't have enough weight to get across the line, or if it picked or something, but you can just see the reaction there, and that's a unfortunate break. And now LeFort can actually go in behind the yellow guard, but he's actually going to try to remove that blue one and try to roll in under cover. Of course, we saw Grondin there with his throwing lead here. So McNutt now hoping to capitalize here on that very unfortunate one, but boy, this looks like it's just going to just stay out there. It gets a nose hit and well open there. Let's say, get back to the team. Sokolic Grondin is the 10s NSCC, has been curling for 12 years. So now we move on to Max Kessler, 18 years of age, attends St. Mary's University. Be interesting to see if he actually joins forces there with Adam Cox of the manual foursome. Cox, of course, is a third, but last year was a skip for St. Mary's in the AUS Curling Championships. So that's the thing that's so great about this level. They could be like playing certain amount of levels and end up being like skipping, or maybe even playing third there for their university team. So this one, it looks like it's taking off pretty well here on LeFort. And he just gets a piece of it. I mean, it had a lot of weight on it, and LeFort tried to push the blue one towards the back, and it does get out. Well, that was a close call there for sure for that team, because it looked like that was well out there, and they had to wait for it to come over, and they did just get a piece of it. So there's a yellow stone there belonging to LeFort here. And that will stop towards the back 8. Having, as you can see, a conversation here to decide, because that blue one really is not that much of a benefit. Like, he could choose to ignore it and try to get something under cover of the yellow stone and towards the front, but probably just talking to his players, trying to figure out what they want to do here. Got to give LeFort here this foursome a lot of credit. This one has lots of weight on it. Gets a piece and rolls it out. So now, of course, Team Sokolic can now just make a decision as we take a look at Scott Weigel coming up. Attends Forest Heights High School, has been curled for 9 years. Has a little bit of a word there for his front end here. As we're into third stones here in end number 3, score 1-0. Sokolic forced to take one. LeFort has the hammer here in end number 3. And as you can see, slight brushing there by Grondin. Kessler having words with Sokolic there. That is probably the lightest brushing you have ever seen. LeFort now will try to push it towards the back. And you can see that it was, heavy. Not much of a brush laid to it at all. So you got to wonder here, some of these errors that this Sokolic team, if we're going to pay for them eventually. So Nicholas McKenzie now has a rock there just outside of the house that he'd like to come around and try to get. Is he all over it? That's the question. No, he's going to just get by it, probably maybe about by 1 or 2 finger lengths, and comes to a stop. And they're going to push it towards the back, and Sokolic was doing the work there. But the thing is, that guard so far, there's your see, lots of room to come around. You can probably see probably about a quarter of the rock here. What you see is the ice level camera that we've set up there. So definitely lots of room to come around, and the swing there in the ice can actually pick that up, maybe even freeze it there. A lot of options here for Scott Weigel. And once again, Kessler, Grondin, slight cleaning again. It's almost like the same one. LeFort there. Could this be heavy as well? I think it's going to bite in here at the last second. But if the freeze is what the call was, it's going to go deep to the back 12. So LeFort now with a little bit of pressure on, has one already, wants to sit two. And you can see he's got a guard there that's in front. But the thing is, they don't want this too short. Don't want Nicholas McKenzie to put this maybe like the top 12-foot area and leave the run back double as a possibility. But as you can see, this LeFort team with some pressure. Actually just going to throw up another guard. And actually bounces off, has a little stagger there along center line. So there's some protection here. As you see, the rocks are well back behind the tee line. Sokolic will make his way up. That's what's so great about this sport, is you have a chance here, you know, the way that you could actually hear what the other conversations are along the ice there. Graham Weigel has a 2-0 lead on Logan Sweeney. That's on sheet number E. And they're into the third. Once again, not much put here. Wait, a little bit of control. Is he going to get a kiss the back guard? No. Is he going to get right onto the lid of that yellow one? Yes, he does. Gets the slightest of slight bumps. Lie two, or pardon me, or lie one. Be first shot, second shot. Getting ahead of myself because I'm thinking, like, as you see, that the double is definitely there. Just run it right back and get rid of both of those. Could it possibly be that you have to be concerned about jamming on the yellow and removing that one? So it's decision time here for LeFort. Definitely knows that he's second shot, just has to get rid of one of those yellow ones there. So the weight, a little bit of an issue here for the Sokolic team out of the Mayflower Curling Club. As we're into the fourth rock, skip rocks here for LeFort. Throwing his first here at end number 3. Definitely has a little bit of pressure here in this end. McNutt now head down. Both of them have head down as they'll go get by the guards, well by them. And they'll push the blue one back. Will they push it back enough? No, they'll be first and third shot there, LeFort. They just needed to push it back just a little bit more, but as you see, it's just barely touching the back 8 line there. So they are, Sokolic is second and fourth shot. First, third belong to LeFort. You gotta wonder what shot he's got up his sleeve here in this one. Well, I know it may be early and it may be the third end, but if you have a shot in your back pocket here, Mr. Stefano Sokolic, you better have it right now. He's throwing his last rock here in end number 3. He doesn't have hammer here, but definitely try and prevent LeFort from getting 2 here in this third end. I'm telling you, the front end hasn't had a lot of work to do here in this one, and they will get the freeze, bump the yellow out. A good shot, but pretty well. That one that's in the back 4, all you have to do is push it out, but I know LeFort's saying, can I get all 3 of those blue-handled stones belonging to Sokolic out here, pushing it back. Pretty well can nose hit the blue one and then push it back and get at least one of those bumped out and hope that he throws enough weight to spill them all to get his 3. But you think maybe the conservative shot is due, just bump out that blue one and get the yellow one, take your deuce. We'll see what he's got up his sleeve here. Sebastian LeFort of the Sydney Curling Club. Final stone in number 3. He can bump one of those blue ones out to sit 2, and that's exactly what he's going to try to do here. But so far, not a brush laid to it here by McNutt and Coach Orr. They're going to be well by the guards. They will push the blue one back enough, and they do get their 2. And that's gotta love the call there. He had a chance maybe to possibly put himself in a situation to go for 3. Elected to take the 2. It's the safer shot. So now he'll lead 2-1, and Sokolic will have the hammer here in number 4. But the thing is sometimes you lick your chops and all of a sudden you may take yourself out of an end. So that seems to be the case. Decided to take his deuce, and of course, if you probably told him if you had a chance to get your deuce there. Well, Team Gray, they've got some work cut out to them. That's our other competition there that's being called here. So far, Ryan Abraham, 3-0 lead on sheet C over the Justin Gray team. Still, as of now, no score to report in the Graham Rigo versus Logan Sweeney here. That may be blocked out there by one of the players, but I thought they had a score up there earlier. It's still 2-0 there. For Graham Weigel. Weigel came in number 1 here in the Nova Scotia junior curling standings, and Logan Sweeney out of Yarmouth in for a tough battle against that team. They just seem to be having themselves a fantastic season and carrying that into the junior curling championships here as we're into the 4th end. And of course, the hammer belonging to Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club, throwing the blue-handled stones. Glad you could join us here for the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships here on TV1. My name's Dan Hobson. Glad you could join us here. Happy holidays, and of course, belated Merry Christmas. Hope the holidays went well for you. And it's quite an adjustment here to have Christmas and then on Boxing Day, and then all of a sudden get back into the thick of things there, trying to qualify to represent Nova Scotia at the Junior Curling Championships in Shawinigan, Quebec, just like that. And of course, the force is on here. Sokolic would like to get his 2 back here, and LeFort just going to try to go in behind, and we'll stop there and just biting a bit of the back button. Aidan McNutt, of course, has been curling for 10 years and attends Sydney Academy. As we look at Jeremy Grondin. Definitely the Sokolic team having a little difficulty with the weight there, and still lucky to be up 2-1. They had some difficulties there in the first end and carried over right into that 3rd end. So 4th end is where we're at right now. Though nice shot here as they'll get by the blue right there and push the yellow towards the back, and it will bite the 12-foot area, back 12. So Sokolic now 1st and 2nd shot here in the early stages here of the 4th. Here is Reese Couture, the 2nd here on the team. He also attends Sydney Academy High School. And he started at the age of 10 So he's been curling for 8 years, the 18-year-old. And this is the thing that, they are showing a lot of composure here for a very young team, 17, 18 years of age, and really not letting like some of the pressures here of playing at a championship really affect them. They've, I'm sure that if you were doing statistics for this, like they do in other national championships, you'd probably take a look and see that the LeFort team definitely out-curling the Sokolic team. So far, Sokolic and Grondin have not laid a brush to this, and will it stop? Yes, it will. So now they lie 3. And you got to like the positioning of the rocks. Well gapped here from each other, so really nothing LeFort can do. So we talked about the statistics here. LeFort is now kind of going after the one that was just thrown there. So Max Kessler going to try to hit the one there that was just thrown near by Reese Couture and try to get a roll towards the button here, throwing a big weight on it. And he'll just get a nose hit, and the shooter goes as well. So the Sokolic team now lying 2. They have the hammer here in in number 4, looking pretty good here to try to get that 2 back and go up by 1. They had a 1-0 lead, of course, after the first end. We're really trying to basically try to blank and carry the hammer into 2, but LeFort made, of course, the skip, actually the 4th stone thrower, Stefano Sokolic, forced him to take the 1 there in the in number 1. Speaking of Sokolic, here he is, head down, and once again, great work here by Grondin and Sokolic to drag the rock, and we'll just finish just back 8. Just a few centimeters shy of the tee line. And now you can see LeFort going to go to try to run this one back here. At least get rid of the guard there, keep this open, because right now, Sokolic, as you've seen, lying 3. Nicholas McKenzie, yellow onto the blue, and just missing the one that was just stopped there in the 8-foot area. Didn't miss by much, a nice try, but that actually also benefits Team Sokolic, because now they have more places to hide there of that yellow stone when they try to do that run back double. Scott Weigel here, who calls the game, but for the Team Sokolic here, once again, Kessler Grondin, the lightest of cleanings that you could ever see. Just trying to make sure it doesn't pick. Now they'll start to drag it in, and nice work here by Grondin. They're going to push it towards the back, and have 2 in the back 12 and 1 just in the back 8 to lie 3. LeFort now having a conversation with Nicholas McKenzie, the 18-year-old out of Riverview High School. See McNutt, Couture, and a flash, and boy, the pressure now on. All of a sudden, It's buffet time here at the Lakeshore Curling Club here for the Sokolic team. Lying 3 and a flash there by LeFort. After pretty well controlling the play and making their shots here early, all of a sudden your great start could go out the door just like this, and a guard there belonging to the LeFort team that's guarding some of those blue stones towards the back 12. And a chance here to lie 4, but of course, thing with Scott Weigel's got to be very careful with the placement here of this stone. Does not want to leave the LeFort team a double. I have to say, in all my years of curling, I have never seen anybody sweep like that by Jeremy Grondin. It's pretty intelligent when you think of it. Just enough cleaning there just to make sure that it doesn't pick or get any some of the maybe the brush fibers. That will stop there just inside the button. Not quite the angle enough there to get that one that's in the 8-foot area, but definitely can. And the run back's a little bit tricky too. Run the yellow back, but so all of a sudden, going from the frying pan into the fire, here is Sebastian LeFort as we're into skip rocks here at end number 4. Or in the case of the Sokolic team, 4th stone here in end number 4.
That's real good.
And you got to like the communication. You see it right there as LeFort and McNutt had a conversation trying to get right on the same page, figure out what they want to do. And I'm sure also too is, okay, if plan A doesn't work, well, what we got for plan B is we're the first of 2 for LeFort. It's on its way, and so far McNutt and Couture have not laid a brush to it. Weigel right there. Boy, they hope that it at least gets something. It's going to probably get one of those blue ones and touch it and push it towards the back, and it does. And if anything good that came out of that, it does well, limit, of course, the possibility of a good big score here for the Sokolic rink there at the Mayflower Curling Club, pushing those two ones toward the back as Sokolic and Scott Weigel. You can see that Sokolic looked up there at the front end, trying to get Grondin and Kessler's opinion, see what they could see from the hack. Definitely a good question. Hear a little bit of the conversation. Great production crew here. Sean Central also doing the production there of the Sheet C game, and I have the honor of having Chuck Calder here for sheet number D, or sheet letter D, whatever you want to call it. Number D, that's the smartest thing I think I've said. You definitely see the turkey still in my system. So here we are in number 4. After what we could probably say was the really sluggish start here by the team out of the Mayflower Curling Club, Team Stefano Sokolic here. Pretty well having a pretty good end right now. Lots of rocks in play. Definitely well by the guard. Kessler giving it extra brushes. And it'll bounce off the one that's in the button and towards the back 8. Sokolic lies 3. LeFort looking at his options, of course. Right now, those 2 ones in the back belonging to Sokolic, not really much of a factor, just those right on the edge. What was an easy afternoon so far for LeFort. He's had a couple of tough shots. That's the situation that he faces. Of course, a lot of people saying, well, why doesn't he go for one in the button? Well, he goes after that. There'll be enough room there for the hit for the stick for Sokolic, and you're putting more rocks in play. So probably his safest call here would definitely be to freeze. Maybe do that one that's just in the back 8. And have to make Stefano Sokolic here draw on his last rock here in the 4th. LeFort is a grade 12 student of Saint-Cyr Soclair. He told la KD in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I hope that my French was good enough, and he'll come up to the stop there, and he's not shot rock. That's, of course, belonging to Sokolic, but a pretty good shot nonetheless there to really going to make it hard there for Sokolic to pick that one out. So LeFort put it in a good spot, about the best spot he possibly can put it. And hopefully trying to minimize the damage was LeFort here. As you can see, Weagle's giving enough ice, a lot of ice here for Stefano Sokolic here. As we're into the final stone here, and in number 4. He may be just trying to throw this wide, but of course we'll have to wait and see. Once again, Grondin with the very unique sweeping style. Now they're going to start to get on it, and now it's starting to come over. Can they push it there and get a piece of the button there to sit their 2? And they will go deep, so it will be just the 1 point there for Sokolic here. And in number 4, he does tie it at 2 apiece here after 4 ends of play. And for Sebastian LeFort and the team of the Sydney Curling Club, a little deep sigh of relief as things were looking pretty grim, but LeFort there with a beautiful freeze there and made it really hard for Sokolic to push it out. So now LeFort will have the hammer here in end number 5, and he's throwing the yellow stones as the hammer goes just up on your scoreboard here. 2-2 is where we stand here. I'll remind everybody that 2018 Scotties begins Tuesday, January 9th from the Dartmouth Curling Club. You can catch all the action here on Bell 5 TV1 beginning Tuesday, January 9th at 9 a.m. Looking forward to that. What a field that is going. We have Kristen McDonald, of course, Kristen McDermott, who didn't even have to go to the qualifiers. Her and Team Brothers, of course, qualified thanks to their standings in the season. And we've got Julie McAvoy, Teresa Breen, a little different look to her team as Breen will be throwing 4 stones. As Tanya Hillard has moved on. Marianne Arsenault, of course, still has her team. And, of course, Colleen Jones. What would the Scotties be without Colleen Jones? And an interesting team that curls out of this curling club, Team Ladouceur, Isabel Ladouceur. She's also here at the Junior Championships, has qualified, one of the youngest teams to qualify for the Scotties. And Colleen Pinckney, and she has a little bit of a different look to her team. It's a little bit of mix between the Christy Gamble team that was there last year, Bridget McPhail playing 3rd. So Colleen Pinckney going to give it a shot. So those are some of the teams that are going to contend at the Scotties, and of course we'll have it all starting Tuesday, January 9th at 9 a.m. So here we are into the 5th end. LeFort with the hammer, throwing the yellow stones. 2-2 is where we stand, and for Stefano Sokolic, a really good end there. Put the pressure here to LeFort, and it took LeFort a pretty well picture-perfect shot there. As we take a look at Sokolic there, he's the one in the green jacket. Weagle calls the game, and Sokolic not afraid to get out there. Of course, he does throw the 4th stone. Yeah. After a little bit of a sluggish start, they've really turned things around here and have their 1 here in number 4 to tie things around. Once again, McKenzie, Coach Orr working here. Coach Orr working hard here on this one. McNutt there guiding. First things first, get it over to hog line. Put a check mark besides that, and this one's going to stop right along the center line there. Long guard there. So now we have a bunch of staggered guards there in front, as you see. 2 of those belonging to LeFort, and the other one to Sokolic in the blue handle stone. So lots of place here for the teams to hide as we take a look at the LeFort and Weagle there. Definitely think that maybe the momentum has changed here, that this is maybe Sokolic has a little bit, the team Sokolic has a little bit more confidence here as we take a look here at Max Kessler, Grondin, and Sokolic. Are they going to get by the guard? Oh, they're going to give it maybe the slightest rub, but it's not going to stop it, and they're pushing hard to get it into the house, and they do. Top 12 and buried. Pretty good shot there by Max Kessler. And that was hard work there by Sokolic as well as Grondin there to get it by, and you can see pretty well buried. Going to be hard for LeFort to get, but an excellent shot there by Max Kessler. Of course, the guys had a better view of it than what we did. He might have just barely, and I mean, give it the slightest of kisses there on that yellow guard there. Couture now. He's going to try to come around, and this is the thing, when you have so much shrapnel there in front of the house, it means that you're going to have to pretty well go to the other side of the sheet, and that's what the plan is. They're going to be well by those guards and hoping that it comes to a rest, but looks like this one's going to be deep, so after they're having their good start, and no, it bites in there at the last second. Sometimes the ice can be a little bit tricky there. I thought it might have been a little bit deep, but it waited to the last second to bite in and stop in front of the tee line. But of course, it's pretty well easily can be removed. Nothing really much in terms of blockage for it. So even they can get a hit and roll and get in behind the other side of the sheet here. Once again, Max Kessler. So far, probably one of the best shots of the game so far was this previous rock. He just got it by, kissed the guard, and just got it there into the top of the 12-foot area, completely buried. This one, he flashes on, so now LeFort can probably afford maybe to try to run back. It's still early in the end, so if he can probably run back and try to clear some of that, some of those rocks there in the front. But the thing is, the more rocks in play, the better chances are you have at scoring here. LeFort, of course, got 2 in the third, and Sokolic was forced to 1 in the first, and of course had that nice little bump there to get a single point. And in number 4, that's where we stand. So far, McNutt and McKenzie just along for the ride. And weight starting to be a little bit of an issue here as both teams exchanging pretty well heavy shots there on that one. So now we're into third stones as Weagle, who usually calls the game, and now Sokolic will hold the broom while he does his throws here. And that's the thing about this level, is that you have a chance to probably see shots that you think, you know, during like regular, like in the other competitions, I guess you could say, like the Scotties and the Tankard, you know, seeing simple shots that, you know, they make at this level. Of course, they're still learning the sport and still learning the ice. You have a chance to see and capitalize. It's still the same thing. You really don't want to make too many mistakes at this level, but you've seen that those come-arounds are a little bit. Now they get a piece of the rock, and they're going to actually split the house here as the yellow is going to go towards the back 12 on one side of the sheet and blue to the other. But both those teams were having a little bit of difficulty trying to get in front of the those staggered guards. So just to get a piece of the rock and, well, split things up. Fort definitely giving a lot of ice here to McKenzie here. And right just like that, McNutt and Couture are right on it here, because it looks like they're going to try to hold the line, because if this starts to come over, he's definitely going to be all over those staggered guards. You can see it's coming, and it's right over to the center line area, and LeFort out there as well, and you can see he's going to actually push the yellow guards and push that yellow one just off the center line, and the one that he just threw will go and sort of be a guard of the yellow one. All this is doing is it's right now, as you can see, like the shot rock belonging to Sokolic, this is basically making almost LeFort really hard. There's that one that is the top 12 shot stone, a second shot, of course, that yellow one towards the back belonging to LeFort. But that one that's in the top of the 12, there's really nowhere or to even get access to it as of now. There is just a whole lot of granite in front of it as Weagle's throw is on its way. Once again, Grondin and Kessler. Well by the guards, and LeFort trying to push it back. Can he push it back to even further to make it? And this would be close, but I think he's still second shot, so first and third belonging to, yeah, Sokolic going to take a look at it there. And I believe LeFort is second shot. One towards the back 12. It's quite a difference in first couple ends. Not a lot of rocks in play, and here we are. Once again, head down, and you can see McKenzie calling for line. LeFort coming out, and this really, those not really helping once a bit, because all that's doing is making it really hard for LeFort here, who has lost rock here in end number 5, to even get any access. Pretty well, that's what he's looking at, LeFort, when he goes up the hack here. Just a lot of rocks there, and most of them are in front of the house, and all that's doing is making it hard. I mean, that blue one there, that Sokolic already has like one there. But the thing also too is he knows the situation too. If I'm having difficulty getting that one that's on the top of the 12, at least I'm going to try to make it hard for Sokolic to try to get his second. So I mean, it helps him, but it also hinders him here. Sokolic says, well, you know, could possibly steal here and before the 5th end break. Once again, Kessler, Grondin there, and he'll hit the guard, and that will roll over. So what do you do when you have the situation here if you're LeFort? Good news is that, pretty well the 4-foot and 8-foot area is open, but not a lot of room to get there. You pretty well have the side of the sheet. So we're into the fourth stones, or last rocks, or skip rocks here in end number 4. First of 2 for LeFort. Has this one tied at 2. Can get around. Can he stick it there in the 4-foot area? Yes, he can. And it will stop towards the back 4. That's a good shot. I'll tell you, LeFort here has made some pretty key shots. He pretty well limited the damage to the last end. And has as well. A nice little shot there. And you can see probably maybe about a quarter of a rock. Boy, that got to give the credit there too. McNutt and Crochor there on that shot there. Pretty well knew that you would have to scrub it and drag it to get it there, and perfect weight by LeFort and help there. That was a nice shot. As fourth stone here by Stefano Sokolic here of the Mayflower Curling Club, tied at 2. Thrown lots of weight on it here so far. Grondin and Kessler have not laid a brush to it at all. And this is the thing, you could get by there. Oh, we'll touch it. This is definitely a plan B. And gets the shot rocked nonetheless. If that's not a curling audible, I don't know what is, as he brushes it, the guard, and gets it in there, and you can see it is well buried. So the skips coming up with the great shots here. And pretty well for LeFort, he'll have to follow the same path and try to get that blue one out. As you see, he's touching just a little bit of the button there. He has one. Got to give credit here to this team out of the Mayflower Curling Club, the 4th-ranked team in the Nova Scotia Curling Association provincial standings. Got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but this 4th and 5th in has been pretty well different, and if it wasn't for LeFort's excellent shot there in number 4, could have been turn out the lights, the party's over. Is he going to get by those staggered guards? No, he's all over it, and he's going to actually touch the blue one. And it will be a steal of 1 here. And the last rock there, Sokolic putting the pressure on. So LeFort will have the hammer here in end number 6. And quite a surprise here, as Sokolic will now lead 3-2 after 5 ends of play. So a good start here by the LeFort team out of Sydney, and then Sokolic team sort of found their game by about the 4th or 5th end. And then, of course, the steal there by Sokolic, as weight got to be a little bit of an issue. So it's 3-2. We're going to take the break here at the Lakeshore Curling Club, and we'll be back with 6th end coverage in just a couple moments. You're watching Bell 5 TV1's coverage of the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships.
said, we're not throwing it away, right? You had a couple key misses early, right? Like where we had a chance to flash one, two, right? Where we had a chance. And maybe that we had.
We could have hit and rolled under the guard, and then he turned it in and overthrow it. So that's when we got. Oh, that's when we got one.
We got one.
Yeah.
No, we got two. Oh, we missed. We hit on the guards. No, we hit on the guards with the first one, right? Instead of sitting two, we were all of a sudden giving them a chance. Those ones, you know, that you're playing close to the center line with the guard, you have to make sure that the weight you're throwing and what ice you're going to take, so that you don't have to really play with the guard. Right? You have to make sure you're, you know, what is your outcome? How do you get there? What is your best option? As far as this end goes, where we ran into trouble, we got a couple nice shots, right? Like we made a nice shot, and then we got cute, right? We got cute. We didn't hit that one and roll under. Like I saw you kind of tap, we were going to hit and roll underneath. Yeah, instead we tried to draw on them again, right? And we left all those yellow rocks open, right? We don't need to see how many yellow rocks. You know what I mean? That's not our style. Our style is, you know what, we're going to get cute in here and do this and that. We're unlucky. You know what I mean? You took that lot. You took your first one.
All right, welcome back for second half coverage between Stefano Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club taking on Sebastian LeFort out of the Sydney Curling Club. We're into the sixth end here. My name is Dan Hobson, and we'll give you a little bit of a recap of what we've seen so far. LeFort with the force there in the first just for Sokolic to take a 1-0 lead, and of course LeFort blanked end number 2. And then in the third, LeFort had scored 2 in the third to take a 2-1 lead. And then LeFort with a nice little freeze there. Didn't leave Sokolic much. Had a draw and basically got his single point in number 4. And that in number 4 is where things started to turn around after the sluggish start there from the Sokolic team. Sokolic stole an in number 5, definitely the weight an issue for the LeFort team, and they pretty well blocked the sheet up. Really made it hard for any access to the button, and it hurt them because Sokolic stole an in number 5. So LeFort has a hammer down by 1 here in number 6, and LeFort is throwing the yellow stones. There's a nose hit, and it's going to stick at the top of the 12-foot area. I have a little biter there, top of the 12. There it is. So Sokolic now line 2 here. Top 12. And definitely a good bounce back there for them. They got off to a little bit of a shaky start. It's been a sort of like an up and down game so far. In the early going, LeFort had it going on. And as I said, by about the 4th, then Sokolic had it going on. It was, you know, it's been that type of contest now. So, of course, what you're hearing is the 5th end break of Sheet E between Graham Weagle and Logan Sweeney. It's a tough one here for the team out of the Yarmouth Curling Club, down 7-1 to Graham Weagle. Weagle out of the Chester Curling Club, number 1 in the rankings, and Sweeney gave up 4 just before the 5th end break. So their coach Aaron Sweeney having a conversation with Logan, Alex Ouellette, Nick Doucette, and Craig Weagle here, trying to make them keep fighting here. I've got a big hill to climb, and that of course is on sheet E right next to us. And we are sheet C, and as we get back to the one here going on right now after a very good couple of ends there, as I mentioned earlier about LeFort, hoping maybe that the break was just what the doctor ordered for them. As I say, there's action going on in other sheets, of course, and we'll be happy to provide you with up-to-dates on those ones. here at the draw number 1 of the 2017 Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships on TV1, presented by AMJ Campbell. The Lakeshore Curling Club, the home of the Jamie Murphy foursome, and of course we'll take a look at Jamie later on in January, early January. Of course, the Scotties and the Tanker will be over in Dartmouth, the Dartmouth Curling Club, downtown Dartmouth. And we're looking forward to bringing the coverage. I'll be there, so hope you could actually tune in and watch. Right now, we're back to the junior concentration here. Of course, the winners of these will go represent Team Nova Scotia at the Junior Curling Championships in Shawinigan. And once again, those championships are going to be held January 13th to 21st. So pretty well Christmas break, a pretty short one as they come around here by Sokolic, and it will come to a stop just short of the 4-foot area, just biting the 4. It'll be lying 2, so they're looking in pretty good shape right now. I wonder if LeFort's going to have enough there for the come around. Probably should. Of course, the weight was a little bit an issue there in end number 5, but they seem to be have to put that by them. Defending champions Matthew Manuel foursome. Defending champions, 3rd ranked in the provincials, of course, are taking on Ethan Young. That's on sheet B. And that's a pretty tight one right now. 2-0 right now for the Matthew Manuel foursome. Curling out of the Mayflower Curling Club. So you see Sokolic holding the broom as we're into 3rd rocks here, as Weagle that calls the game for most of this. Sokolic, one of those working skips. Usually see a skip that will just hold the broom and do the calling there, but he's quite active because he's does the sweeping there on lead rocks and 2nd rocks and throwing on the 4th. So he only calls Gabe for when Weagle's throw, as we are into Weagle's throw here. Once again, the unique curling sweeping style of Grondin on display. Has one there in the top 4, just biting the top 4, trying to protect it. And that will come, just trying to make sure that he doesn't leave LeFort here with a run back. And once again, the blue stones under cover. LeFort was probably doing this game in a recliner there the first few wins, but it has not been the same since. You're in the lower Sackville area, come on by. We've got some seating here. You can actually even watch it from ice level. They've set some stands up there. Nicholas McKenzie. Well, he'll split things up and open things up here outside of the house. Didn't get access to that blue stone, and it's perfectly covered up there by that yellow stone, so kind of a good news, bad news situation. Has opened up things in the house a little bit, but now that blue one there just touching the 4-foot area is completely buried by the yellow rock, and Sokolic now trying to find a place to put number 2. And this has been sort of what helped them there in that 5th end. They put a lot of, and Sokolic's got to call a timeout, so his coach coming out here. Or LeFort calling a timeout. Well, it was Sokolic that called the timeout, so Jeremy Stewart will make his way out, the head coach of Stefano Sokolic team. And Yvon LeFort, the coach there for the team LeFort, will make his way out. And you'll probably see them come into the picture in about 3, 2, 1. They were a little bit quicker than I anticipated, but we tried to time that well. Chuck and I having a good chuckle, of course, doing fantastic work. Chuck Calder my producer. Glad to be working with him this week. Of course, 2 timeouts, and clock definitely not much of a factor right now. Right now, the LeFort team at 20 minutes and 29 seconds, and Sokolic 21:30. Of course, that's decision thinking time, so they're okay in that department. So, of course, they'll get a minute timeout, and the curling officials right probably within steps of the teams here. He's making his way up the sheet, so he may be coming to intervene to end the timeout here. He's got a stopwatch in his hand. Slowly making his way over here, so you may see him come in the picture here in a couple of seconds. No, they will break up, and play is back underway, so the clock will start. And it does now, so 1 timeout left here for the team of the Mayflower Curling Club. Sometimes in sport they say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the Sokolic team, not really the strongest of starts. Still 2-0. Matthew Manuel over Ethan Young there on sheet B.
I've been here because we're going to be here.
7-1 between Graham Weigel over Sweeney, and that one's into the 6th, of course. They're a little bit trailing here in terms of where the other teams are in terms of play. Ryan Abraham forced him over Justin Gray right now. That's 6-2 as they play the 6th. So now you're up to date on everything that's going on. And for LeFort, just going to try to probably clean up some of that mess there that's in front of the house. Throws the big weight as McKenzie. Spills the blue, but gets one of the yellows to stick. And once again, that blue stone just touching the 4-foot area, just holding on. So remind everybody the 2018 Deloitte Tankard begins Tuesday, January 9th at 2 p.m. here from the Dartmouth Curling Club. And you can catch all the action here on Bell 5 TV1. And what a field it is. Stuart Thompson having a pretty good year. Of course, him and Jamie Murphy didn't have to go to the qualifiers. Brent McDougall, Chad Stevens, Greg Power. That's a new name we haven't heard much of. Of course, he may be familiar with curling, have heard the name before, but of course, I've covered a lot of provincial championships, and that's a new name. Kendall Thompson, Mark Dacey has a new rank, and Mike Fleming, the participants. So should be a dandy of a field, but Stuart Thompson, Murphy, pretty well the odds-on favorites. Don't ever count Brent McDougall. He has always seems to have different people playing for him year after year, but one of the better shot makers around, so don't ever count him out. And of course, Mark Dacey. Dacey, of course, was a third last year. They had the Sean Adams team, of course, had Ian Fitzner LeBlanc. Andrew Gibson was the lead, and Dacey was the third, and Adams a skip. And it just couldn't really seem to get together, but I think a lot of it had to do with the crazy work schedules and trying to get the bond spiels and practices and get together was kind of really difficult. So Dacey's going to give it a try here at a skip at the Deloitte Tankard. Once again, that is Tuesday, January 9th. And we'll have the first draw at 2 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time here on Bell 5 TV1. Should be a dandy, just like this has been a dandy here so as well. 3-2, but as I said, from about the 4th end on, Sokolic has put the pressure on. LeFort has not had an easy shot. As we're into skip rocks for him. 4th stone for the Sokolic team. McNutt and Coach Orr, they're well by the guard. And they'll get the blue stones and he'll spill them both. Man, oh man, he's going to earn his pay today. That was a beautiful shot there by Sebastian LeFort. Has been doing it all day, and he's actually even made one of the yellow stones stick around there in the top 12 towards the outside. So what a good throw that was there by LeFort. I said, like, the thing is that when Sokolic got his single point in end number 4, it could have been worse, because at one time they were facing 4. So we're into the 4th stone. Here is Stefano Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club. Nose hit, and the shooter goes as well. LeFort has the hammer here in end number 6 with the yellow stones, and he's got some things now after getting that double there, spilling both of those rocks. He's got a little bit of rock coverage out front there that he could actually go in behind. He has one right on the center line area and another guard that's well long, so it will prevent the run back if he could get this completely buried. The thing is, of course, he has the hammer here in end number 6. So he can basically blanket if he wants. We'll see what LeFort does here. Final stone in number 6. LeFort with a big shot here to even get them into this situation. Wasn't looking good. And he had that big double so far. End has not touched this rock at all. McNutt and Coach Orr. Is he going to try to bump and raise? Did he get enough? I think he did. So rather than, of course, going for the blank, he decided to try to bump his 2. LeFort there showing that he's got some good shooting skills here. Waiting for the officially put it up on the board. I believe it's 2 to make it 4-3 here as we head to the 7th. We will just verify, but I wasn't sure if that, I know 1 for sure, but I wasn't able to see, it got blocked out there by the curler there to make it that one, so 4-3 is where we stand. LeFort over Sokolic here in the 7th. But as you see that they haven't put it up on the scoreboard yet, so we'll have to wait. But Sokolic will have the hammer here at end number 7, throwing the blue stones. I'm telling you, the percentages here for LeFort here, his shots he's made, it's just been fantastic. This will just, and I mean just get over the line. LeFort there with a nice double, and then of course had some rocks out front and trying to raise the 2. And now they've put it up on the board that he did get his 2, so it is 4-3. So we can confirm that right now. So what a shot that was for LeFort here. As you see, once again, Kessler and Sokolic here working hard, and they're going to have that one stop about just a little bit shy of the house there. Good center line guard, just a little bit off the line. Of course, the full rock free guard zone, of course, that effect here, just like pretty well every other curling game has that going on. this has been a seesaw back and forth one. Maybe not much in terms of scoring, but you know, the thing is that if LeFort has really, I have to say, out curling Sokolic and has the leads. They're going to try to get in behind cover here, try to come up to the 4-foot area. They are biting the button. Sit to lie 1, just short of the tee line. Eagle placing the broom down, and leads have been pretty good here in this one. Maybe a little bit shaky off the start here as we take a look at Jeremy Grondin. So far, Skip, Sokolic, and Kessler giving it the lightest of cleans. Now you see it starting to dig in. Is he going to get a piece and touch the Yellowstone? Yes, he does. He'll raise it in towards the button. But the Sokolic stone just thrown there by Grondin. Second shot. And you probably see maybe about half a rock, maybe 55% of a rock of that blue one. So there's enough room here for Couture to do something here as we take a look at Reese Couture. Reese Couture. I have to think that if you probably take a look at the percentages, of course I don't keep those type of stats. I think probably Max Kessler maybe out-curling Reese Couture here so far, but of course that's unofficial, and that's just based on observation and really no numbers and analytics to prove it. There is that will come up just shy there of the 8-foot area. Sokolic team now as we take a look at Kessler. Boy, he had a nice shot there. He's turned away. Not too sure if he likes this one or not. Anyway, Sokolic's going to try to hold the line. They're just going to peel that guard. And they'll push the blue one, and it didn't jam into any of those rocks there. So Kessler kind of knew once he let it go, he wasn't too happy about it because now he has a blue one that's out there. And I'm sure they would have loved it if he could run back and get some of those, but ended up blowing everything and went and sailed towards the back. Couture once again. So far, McKenzie has been the passenger and McNutt has been the worker. Now McKenzie will take her the rest of the way. Ford just happy to. Of course, he really would like Sokolic here who has the hammer here in number 7, throwing the blue stones, to at least be forced to 1. Put himself in a good position, coming home the rest of the way. Gotta wonder, like after this gets done, what the players are going to have to say about the ice conditions. Might have fooled them a little bit, but boy, they have adjusted. There hasn't been much in terms of errors. A little bit of shaky start there as Kessler will get rid of with the yellow stone just out front, and the shooter goes as well. LeFort there with the shot rock. Second shot belonging to Sokolic. McKenzie, third box here in hit number 7. Basically, LeFort has that one that's in the 4-foot area, and he's happy to keep it there and try to protect it. You can see that Sokolic and Weigel are going to take a look to see if they can tuck one in there and get it underneath cover and get it to be shot rock. But they'll be happy just to remove guards. Of course, Weigel usually calls the game. We'll now go third. So we're into the third stones here in the 7th end. 4-3 the score, LeFort over Sokolic. Basically, you see two guards as well in front of the, just barely tucked in the hog line there. Always been known that long guards not your best friends. Grondin and Kessler. And pretty well the sheet is sort of slanted to one side right now, as you can see. The out-turned side open here for these right-handers. No southpaws on this team. As I say, the sheet tilted. All kinds of shrapnel on one side, nothing really on the other. Here's McKenzie. And right out of his hand, McNutt and Couture. Right out of his hand, McKenzie standing up, calling line. LeFort also there, hoping that this can just get over. Starting to come over now, and they can get it past the hog line. And it will just get there. You can see that was light because McNutt and Couture worked on it right away, and it just gets out. I'm not sure if the rock that's going to benefit them there, because there's lots of room there to get around that there for Weigel. Things going from bad to worse there on sheet E. Weigel, after getting 4 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. 10-1 over Sweeney. They play the 7th. (8-1) Abraham over Gray on sheet C. So this one's pretty close, and also pretty close too is the game between Matthew Manuel and Ethan Young. Not much in terms of scoring there. That is still 2-1 last I see there, and they're into the 7th. 2-1 Manuel over Ethan Young. So 2 close ones and 2 not so much close ones as we get back to our one here. As you see, one yellow-handled stone there right on the button. A shot rock belonging to LeFort. Trying to force Sokolic to take one here in number 7. They're going to take their time with this, as McNutt and Couture will make their way down here. McKenzie. So they're going to have a talk here about this, and timeout been called here, so it's both teams have 1 timeout left. Of course, the Sokolic team used theirs earlier, just before the 5th end break. So they each have 1 left. Both teams pretty well similar in terms of clock. 16:57 left here. And 16:23 as we take a look at the Flower Curling Club. What a nice shot that is, as we take a look at the coach there, Jeremy Stewart. Official there with the stopwatch in his hand, 60-second timeouts. As we look at Yvonne LeFort out of the Sydney Curling Club. Well, this is a key spot here, so this is a, of course, as we said, LeFort wants to force Sokolic to take one here, and in number 7. Right now he has the shot rock, and official making his way down. Of course, they were on the far end of the sheet as Stewart will make his way to your back by our broadcast location to the coaching box there. So that's the thing, our broadcast location is ice level. Like some other places we're like sort of like upstairs a little bit, but we're right ice level here, and we're in with the crowd. So if you say something bad about somebody, you know you're going to probably have a good chance of being slapped in the back of the head. So you got to be a little bit careful. Not that you say anything bad about the curlers anyway. So we're into the fourth rocks or skip stones here in number 7. And right away, McNutt and Couture, McKenzie there holding the broom. LeFort calling line. Team shot. Can they get past these guards? Well by them, absolutely. Now starting to dig in and come over. Hoping that it will sit. They're trying to block that yellow one that they have there. Making it really hard there for Sokolic to pick it out. Trying to close. Now you look at that, you think, well, that's a simple shot to make, you know. Nose on to bump it out. But the thing is, there's what you see from the hack. And it's a little bit of some ports there in the way. Yellow handled stones belonging to LeFort, Sokolic the blue. So right now it's Sokolic's second and third shot. The yellow one, LeFort, and that's the only situation that's really good for LeFort right now, is that yellow one just in the back button. And really no way to actually even get to it. That's what you see. It's, as I said earlier in this one, that the ice was tilted. All the rocks were on one side of the sheet. Really making it really hard to even. As I said, Sokolic has a hammer here in number 7, so it's not the easiest of shots there to try to get that one out. The thing is, this is his first of 2. I mean, I think that, you know, you also have to really have in mind what LeFort's going to play, and LeFort is probably going to just guard what he's got. He has that yellow one in there and get the steal and be up 2. Heading to the 8th. Definitely the situation is, of course, in favor of LeFort right now, who has curled a fantastic game. Still on sheet E. We go over Swady. Oh, big weight there by Sokolic here. He's going to try to throw a whole ton of weight, hoping for good results, and he'll just get the yellow one and push the blue towards the side. You throw that big weight, and sometimes it can, you know, be feast or famine. If it works out, it's a beautiful shot, but, you know, just trying to clear some path, and maybe it's a setup shot too. Setup shot there for the next one, and that's the case. Ford and McKenzie having a conversation. So really for Sokolic, what does he have for his last shot? A yellow one really in there deep, and lots of shrapnel in front of it there blocking it. Pretty well. It's time to get your coloring books and your crayons, and it's draw time here in this end, here in number 7. looking pretty good here for the team out of Sydney. Hopefully, as the championships go on, I have a chance to talk to some of the teams here. And, you know, being out of Sydney, you got to wonder how hard it is to play like some of the cash spiels. I remember that last year we were covering some of the curling championships, and some of the Sydney teams were saying they were having a hard time really, you know, they were playing on the World Tour at the Dave Jones last year and saying they were having difficulties trying to get the bond spiels and playing and getting together for practices. So maybe a little bit of a different story here for the Sebastian LeFort foursome here out of the Sydney Curling Club, as pretty well as expected, LeFort going to basically block and really only leaving Sokolic here with the run back to try to get that one out. And it's big risk, big reward here. Of course, these teams are trying to represent Nova Scotia at the Junior Curling Championships, presented by Blue Line New Holland in Shawinigan, Quebec. Last time that a men's team actually won the National Curling Championship in the juniors was 1993. One of these teams here, one of these 8 teams here, hoping to represent Nova Scotia and get them off the snide there. Sokolic, final stone in number 7. He's looking at a steal of 1 right now, but hopefully trying to push something, get anything he can, and he won't, and he'll actually bump the yellow out, and it will still be the steal of 1 for LeFort, and he'll take a 5-3 lead here into end number 8. Of course, later on tonight we'll have the draw number 1 of the women's competition here on Sheet D, so hope you can tune into that. Of course, 6 teams here in the women's division side of things. So as you see, McKenzie put up the 1 for the steal 1 to make it 5-3. Sok will still have the hammer here in 8, but you got to wonder right now what the game plan here is for LeFort. You get to this sort of used to playing the aggressive style with lots of rocks in play, and then you're up by 2, and you know that could be playing with fire. So we'll see if he can try to keep it clean here and maybe force Sokolic here to definitely take 1, because they'd be up by 1 heading into the 9th and try to blank the 9th and have control of the game there for 10. That would be pretty well the game plan here for the team out of Sydney. And they'll throw up a corner guard to start things, maybe a center line guard by the time it stops, and see what Weigel and Sokolic decide. Weigel, of course, calls game. Pretty well know for Weigel it's time to maybe up the ante a bit. They up the ante there in the 4th and 5th and put some pressure on. And I'm not sure what Yvonne LeFort said to his team here, but they got 2 in the 6th, and of course a steal of 1 in the 7th. Seems to be the way of this sport now. It seems like if you could force steals and force teams to take 1, stand a good chance of course, winning your match. As Weigel will ask for the corner guard, and LeFort will just, with the free guard zone, of course, can't do anything with it. Of course, later on, possibly you may see the tick shot, and that's where you're going to see really these leads, show what they could do. Maybe see how Aiden is at the tick shot later on, if the circumstances stay as is later on, of course, into like the 9th or 10th. Well, we got our first final here on Sheet E. Right now it was 10-1, but we'll wait to see the score to go up. And that was a tough one there for the Logan Sweeney team out of the Yarmouth Curling Club. They just ran into a juggernaut, the team that had came in #1 in the junior curling standings. 10-1 was the final right now, but of course if we get more information on that, we'll be happy to pass it along. But it looks like the Graham Weagle rink of the Chester Curling Club goes to 1-0. And the Logan Sweeney team out of Yarmouth to 0-1. That is our first final here. And then any team that had to really face the team Weagle here in the first draw, they were going to be in for a hard one. And pretty well was 3-0 after 3 ends there, and then got 3-1, but that 4 there just before the 5th end break pretty well was the hook, line, and sinker of that one, and gave up 3 in the 6th. So now they get a chance to be spectators here and watch the other sheets going on. (9-2) Ryan Abraham over Justin Gray on sheet C. News update on sheet number B, or letter B, whatever you want to call it, sheet B. Emmanuel got a 2 spot there, number in the 7th end. So after the teams exchanging single points in the 2nd and the 4th and the 6th, you got a deuce there in the 7th. So he's up on top of that one, 4-1. So far, this one's the closest one here. I'm glad you could tune in. The Emmanuel team, of course, the defending champions of his event last year, and has returned their full team here to the men's junior curling championships presented by AMJ Campbell Van Lines. As we put our attention back to the 8th end of this one. LeFort up 5-3 over Sokolic. Sokolic with the hammer here in 8, throwing the blue stones. And seconds ago, I was talking about whether we'll see less rocks in play, but for LeFort, he's not concerned a bit right now. A lot of rocks in play, most of them outside the house right now. Just a couple yellow stones, just one biting the 12 and one into the 8-foot area. Lie 2 right now for the team out of Sydney. Of course, with the final there on sheet E, has a little bit of room there for the teams to, on our sheet here, to go up and down sheet number E and not really interfere with play. Not a brush laid to this here by Sokolic and Grondin. And as a flash, saw a lot from, not really a lot, but we've seen some of that there by this team of the Mayflower Curling Club in the early going, and we thought we might have found their game, but that 4th and 5th end they must be pretty happy about. But since then, it came out here, and of course the 2 and the 6 and the steal of 1 and the 7th and the flash. So things starting to possibly come off the rails a little bit. As we're into 3rd rocks here in end 8. McKenzie. Boy, McNutt and Couture really working hard on this one. Trying to probably kiss that yellow guard, and they do. We'll split over, we'll protect that yellow stone on the 8-foot area. No, you'll see about half a rock. Maybe half to 3/4. Definitely a way, if they wanted to pick it out, get a hit and roll and get in behind cover, one of those. Weagle. So we're into the third rocks here in end number 8. Just joining us, Sokolic was forced to take one in the first. LeFort had hammer in the second, of course, blank. Then he got his deuce in end number 3, and then Sokolic with hammer was forced to a single. And a nice shot by LeFort on a nice freeze, and pretty well didn't give much for Sokolic to get any more than just one. And then Sokolic with the steal of one in the 5th. And then since that 5th end break, LeFort just came out and got a pair in the 6th end and a steal 1 in the 7th. This one, he'll actually bump the yellow in towards the house, and back to line 2 is the team out of Sydney Curling Club, Team LeFort. One of the advantages, of course, having Sheet E come to a finish is some of the mics that you hear are the actual game that we are covering, so you get a chance to eavesdrop on their conversation. Gotta wonder where this one is going to go here out of the hands of Nicholas McKenzie. Line 2 right now, up by 2 here in the 8th. Going to throw up another guard here. Here's McKenzie. Right along the center line area. Weagle paying attention to the shot rock. As you see, it was well short, and that's pretty well accessible. You can see nothing really there, so they can pick at it, but you can see that Sokolic thinking, can we get the double? They'd have to hit half of that rock there on the top, and then try to hit about probably quarter to half a rock there in the back there to get rid of the 2. The angle's definitely there. It's just a matter of having to get through that port. There's a 2 blue port belonging to Sokolic, so if he can come through there, Weagle he can probably get rid of it and probably even stick around there and to lie 1. Right now they haven't laid a brush to it there, the front end. Grondin and Kessler. Try to raise their blue in. And now they see, you hear Sokolic say, keep going. And that's exactly what Grondin does. We'll push the blue towards the side. Not enough to be the third shot, or second shot, pardon me. They're actually third shot. So now for LeFort, he could actually just hit it and stick for 3 to lie 3. There's a blue guard, of course, that's well out, so should be able to get by the port there as you take a look at it. Yellow one right along the center line, the blue one there, so they could pretty well easily get access to it. The thing that they really would like to do, they'd like to get a hit and roll in behind some of the guards there along the center line, but I think it just may be a little bit too much of weight to try to get there to it. Skip stones here in end number 8. Sebastian LeFort by 2. Well by the port. He'll get the hit and he'll get a little bit of a roll, but still pretty well easily accessible to lie 3. LeFort lies 3, but still easily able to be removed here by Sokolic. But gotta like the positioning here for the LeFort rocks. There's really not much in terms of an angle. Like, they have that yellow one they could probably do the double to, but they seem to be concentrating on this one easily so, because there's pretty well an easy open line and access to it. His idea is to hit and roll and try to get in behind cover. Forget about these other stones and try to, get his single. And if you're LeFort, you're saying, well, that's what I want you to do in the first place, is at least take one, is the first of two from Stefano Sokolic here in number 8, down by 2. Rodden and Kessler. Well by the guards there. Now they let off. Trying to get it in or try to sweep it in to get to the button or even top 4 for shot stone. They are shot stone as it comes to a rest in the back of the 4-foot area, just barely touching the tee line. What a good shot that is by Sokolic. We were talking about LeFort's good shot, Megan. I think that's Sokolic's best shot of the game there as he came around. Really not much room for error, but as you see, there's that guard that's well out there belonging to Sokolic. And a lot more that's out front too as well, so. LeFort says, well, here we are, back to hard shot again. Been doing this, did a lot of this in the 4th and the 5th end. And he's gonna have to pull another rabbit out of his magic hat here in the 8th. Thing is that also too, he's got to make sure that he doesn't leave a second chance here for Sokolic to stick another one for 2, tie this up. But it wouldn't be a bad situation to be 5-5 with the hammer, but well by the guards. Can they get a piece of that blue one? Yes, he does. Pushes it there. And once again, the try to scrub to get the yellow one out and does. The blue one will stick around. And right now, all he needs is pretty well a piece of the 4-foot area to get 2 and tie this up. Almost a nice shot there by LeFort. Pushed it off, but also some great brushing there by the Sokolic team to get that yellow handle stone out there to make this possible. So final stone here in number 8. A chance here for 2 and to tie it up after 8 ends. Stefano Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club. I love our final number 2, and we'll get to it in just a couple of seconds. They're pretty happy with it. As I said, all he needs is a piece of the 4. And he gets us 2. So we'll be tied at 5-5 heading to end number 9. LeFort will have the hammer. Throwing the yellow stones. Well, it was
Yeah, 2. I would prefer 2.
Ryan Abraham forced them here. The Mayflower Curling Club over Justin Gray. Right now it's reading 9-2. Of course, we get an official on that one, 9-2, sheet number C, so, or sheet letter C. I don't know why I keep saying number C, like. Still think it's all that turkey that I ate during the holidays. It has to be. It really has to be. Too much chocolate and too much turkey. Maybe even a little bit too much vacation too. So of course right now we've got this action on sheet B going on, and I said that one has been a pretty close contest. Continues to be. As of now, it's still 4-1. The defending champions, Matthew Manuel over Ethan Young. And those are the only 2 that are taking place right now. Of course, Graham Weagle force him. Easily over Sweeney, 10-1, the last that we had for an update on that. So now you're up to date here on draw number 1. So boys, we've got the best one here. I'm sure we're glad we brought the cameras to this sheet here to watch this one. 5-5, LeFort, Sokolic. Back and forth they've gone. A lot of lead changes for sure. But I'm sure that if you were probably to talk to Yvonne LeFort and the Sydney Curling Club rink here, they'd be happy to be tied 5-5. Sokolic, of course, would like to force the issue and maybe force LeFort to take one and have the hammer here in 10. And LeFort would happy to blank the end and carry the hammer into the 10th. So this is a big end as I do my Captain Obvious moment here in the late stages of this one. Throw from McNutt is on its way here as we take a look, and almost stumbled getting up, but it was well before the release. And they've thrown a lot on this. I think this may miss everything. Actually may get a piece of that blue on the top, and we'll push it over. And really not a bad shot, because now they've sort of opened up that blue one if they desire, but at least it will kind of split the rings. And Kessler, who had that beautiful shot there, probably one of the better shots there earlier in this game up here, throwing second stone here for the Sokolic team out of the Mayflower Curling Club. And this one looks like it's a little bit heavy, and Sokolic, Grondin there trying to wait as long as they can. Now they'll start to give a little bit of work. Slight cleaning and starting to dig in. Got to be careful with this. Like them sort of like parallel, so it makes it double difficult, and they've did that at the just bit in at the last second. They did not want to leave the angle double there for the LeFort team. Reese Couture and some final instructions from his skip Sebastian LeFort here in the 9th. And he throws some big weight up here on this shot. So far, McKenzie and McNutt, not a brush yet. Hoping not to flash. Will he get a piece of that blue one? That's starting to dig in and come over as McNutt starts to give her the clean there and just gets a piece of it. He'll push the blue rock towards the back. The yellow will stick around, but I think McNutt pretty well, they had to wait as long as they could, but they waited any longer. They had to keep the line on it. It just got a piece of the rock, so sometimes you got to be good to be lucky, lucky to be good. That was the case there. Nice heads-up brushing there by McNutt. Sokolic and Grondin there got their heads down. Keep looking every once in a while for the line call there from Weagle. You could hear him say all the way they're trying to get it as far as they can. They definitely have the force on here in end number 9. Right now they've got the first, third, and fourth as their shot rocks. So they've got a little bit of pressure here on the team from Sydney. And now you can hear them say hurry hard, and they are digging in here. Digging in, McNutt and McKenzie. Well past the blue one. And they'll push the blue stone back, and now they'll be shot rocks, so they'll be sitting 1-2 to lie to. Nice shot there by Reese Couture. So Weagle, who is if you're just tuning in to us, calls the game. Most of the game. Sokolic will throw the fourth stone. Just like some of the folks we were saying just before the game, and you could see Sokolic and LeFort having a little bit of a joke there. To finish my point, before the game, it was just like, John Morris and, of course, Jim Cotter, the British Columbia team. And you want to go back even further back to Randy Furby and Dave Nedowin. The only thing is Nedowin and Furby never switched, but sometimes Morris and Cotter would switch back and forth into the third and the fourth. They actually tried to do that at the Roar of the Rings, tried to change in between, and of course, once you were set in that position, you can't. John Morris having a little bit of muscle difficulty if he had a chance to tune in and watch. So they'll bump that yellow stone out.
Same as Reese.
I think we have a final there from sheet B here, so we'll get that information as soon as we can. So right now, the lonely game on the sheet. You're watching it. LeFort, Sokolic 5-5 in the 9th. Was promised to be a beauty, and it has been. Probably would have favored Sokolic here, the 4th ranked in the province in the junior curling standings. LeFort has given him everything he's gotten, has made some key shots. There's a nose hit, and the blue will go out. So Sokolic now. There's the shot stone belonging to LeFort. First and second shot he is. Off camera, and can't see it right now, but you can see that the LeFort team having a little bit of a team meeting. Front end, McKenzie, McNutt, and Couture are having a conversation. And they seem to be pretty loose. If you wouldn't ask these people that they were playing the 9th in for a provincial championship, so far the jokes have been just going back and forth here. The Skips exchanging one, and now, of course, the LeFort team exchanging as well. Pretty relaxed, but that's the way you got to be. It's a game. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. Pretty well, you put that and simplify the things, that happens. And they'll punch out that yellow stone, and now there'll be the shot rock, and belonging to the Sokolic team here in number 9. Hammer belongs to LeFort here in the yellow stones. Scoreboard still saying manual over Young 4-1, but I think it's probably higher than that. So if we get an update, we'll be glad to pass it along to you. And remove some rocks and spill out a little bit of the mess and clean things up. So we're into the skip rocks or 4th stone, whichever you want to classify, depending on the respective teams. Well, that looked a little more intense than it probably is. I saw a little reaction there, Greta Weagle. So we're into, as I say, what you hear is basically the sheet that's going on right now. So every once in a while we'll tune in and try to eavesdrop on conversations. A great way of covering this sport as we're into the fourth rocks here for the Mayflower Curling Club's Stefano Sokolic. Gets a piece of the yellow, but he'll lose the shooter as well. So now McKenzie and LeFort here. As I say, they're probably pretty happy with the situation. I'm sure that you told them you got this far, and you get into this, get into the dying stages. You can probably see that these curlers here are going to, make sure that the path is clean, no picks, make sure to prevent picks, keep the path clean. Just off camera, McNutt was doing some extra work there by the hack that you see LeFort is. We're into skipstones here. In number 9, 5-5, as you see. You know that the shot is close when you get that type of reaction. Hoping that it could actually bite and not go too deep. Weagle got to push it to the back as far as he can, and he'll get it just touching the back 12. You hear the high five, and our microphones picked up ice level there as we await the last one from Sokolic here in the 9. Pretty well shoulder to shoulder here downstairs, just outside of the sheet here. They're watching this one. It's been a dandy. Grondin and Kessler. Starting to dig in. Now it's starting to come, and they're working hard, trying to scrub it, drag it as far, get to the tee line, and they will get it there to be the shot rock. So the idea here of LeFort trying to get the blank pretty well was out of the realm of possibilities early here in this in number 9. Definitely doesn't want to really give up one and give the hammer to Sokolic in 10, but that may be one of the possibilities going through his mind right now. Saying he's going to try to throw it as same as he did last time. Great work there by Chuck Calder, the producer, there to pick that one up. Final stone in number 9, 5-5. LeFort. If he can remove that blue stone and stick, he can get 2. He's definitely going to need some help, and he's going to have to get by those guards. Can he do it? Yes. Can he bump the blue enough? Don't want to touch that yellow one. It looks like he's going to get his 2. Well, they're going to take a look, maybe a measurement here, looking at that one. 1 for sure. Could we see our measurement here? Boy, that is tough. Looks like it'll be just the 1, but we'll verify that once I put the score up. So it is LeFort that will get a single here and in number 9 to take a 6-5 lead. Actually going to give it 2. All right, so it's 7-5 for LeFort as he gets his deuce. 7-5 as we head to the 10th. Kind of surprised that maybe that Sokolic didn't actually call for a measurement maybe on that one, but they looked long and hard at this. So all of a sudden here for LeFort, you're going to pretty well not see a lot of stuff here in play. He's up by 2. The last thing he wants is rocks. Rocks in play. So we'll see what McNutt does here on his first. Imagine it's probably just, looks like he's thrown a lot of weights. It looks like this could be just thrown right straight through here. And as I said, less rocks in play, the better it is for him. And you can just see a big 2, and this one will just sail right through. It's hoping that it gets out, and it just does. But boy, did that ever sort of bite in. And almost stuck around in the back 12, and that would have been not what the doctor ordered. So pretty well here for the Sokolic Weagle team here out of the Mayflower Curling Club. They pretty well got to get 2. They force it to try to score 3 or even get 2 to get it to 11th, but it's going to be difficult, as this one will come to a stop, and LeFort says that's fine with dandy with me. Would have liked to have that stick just outside the house and take advantage of the free guard zone, or at least put something up there, and then of course would have tipped the hand of LeFort, but now pretty well going to make a play on the last one just being thrown. Both teams okay in the time category, 6:14 and 6:53. 6:53 remaining here for the LeFort team, and Sokolic at 6:14. So time all right. Thinking time is okay. Get a piece of the rock, and the shooter goes as well. So LeFort has his peeling pants on, trying to clean everything up and see if they can get another guard here for the Sokolic team here. Of course, the ideal circumstance is that for LeFort, he probably would have liked to have the hammer here in 10th, but based on the amount of rocks to play, then that 9th in, and then come up with that nice shot, but he has been doing it all along. This one may come up short of the hog line. Sokolic and Kessler try to get it there, and they don't, and Sokolic, you could hear the thud as he kicks the stone in frustration. That might leave a big ouchie bro on the old big toe. Of course, microphones down ice level probably make things sound a little bit noisier than probably what they were, but things not going your way, he showed a little bit of frustration. This is the thing, is that this LeFort team, there was times that the Sokolic team had the LeFort team on the ropes, but LeFort just found a way to make the shots, and team that came in, and they weren't even like top 5 in terms of the rankings in the junior curling standings, taking on the Sokolic team that's number 4 in the province, giving them all they can handle and more, and they're just a few rocks away from probably putting this one away and getting their first victory here in draw number 1. So Weagle, Abraham, and Manuel go to 1-0. Young, Sweeney, and Gray 0-1. Who's going to go 0-1 here? Weagle coming here. All 3 brushers getting out to this. And could this be another one? No, it will just get over. But of course, LeFort in control, will just want this guard removed and the shooter to go as well, and is asking Reese Couture to do those duties right now. As I said before, they've got their peeling pants on here in number 10, up by 2. And it goes out. Max Kessler being asked by Weigel here once again. Pasta being thrown up a guard, but this looks like it could be a little bit heavy. It may come into the house. A little bit more weight thrown on this. And it'll come to a rest there in the 12-foot area, just holding on to the tee line. Says he wants normal weight there. Removes the rock and the shooter goes as well. LeFort lies 1. So we're into third rocks here. And as I said before, time not really much of an issue. 5 minutes to go by the time Weigel gets his brew and gets into the hack. So time not really much of a factor here for both of these teams, but of course the first 2 hits were pretty quiet, not much going on, and pretty well went end to end. And when you get a blank too on top of that, saves your time. This will come to a stop. And of course, without any hesitation, LeFort will ask that guard to go bye-bye. Asking Nicholas McKenzie to do so, but this was the thing is that you want to talk about LeFort making those great shots throughout the game. Let's not give credit here. Let's give credit to his front end as well. I mean, McNutt, Couture, McKenzie pretty well making the shots, and a flash there, and all of a sudden they have something to play with. The team of the Mayflower Curling Club have somewhere to go. A little bit too much weight there, a little bit anxiousness there by McKenzie. So just as soon as you thought, well, the end was going to go the way you thought it was going to go, hold on, folks. Hold on just a little bit more. And this is what the Sokolic foursome were kind of hoping for, was to get that miss, and they got it. They want to get this to the tee line, or maybe even deeper, but boy, they have not laid much of a brush to this one at all. Starting to come around, but they get a piece of the rock and they get in behind cover. Might be able to see some of the rock. Yeah, you can see about a little piece of it there, so LeFort, who's had to make pressure cooker of a shot has another one to make here. The thing that getting into, of course, we're into like the fourth rock, skip rocks here in 10, is that right now Sokolic has one already in the house, so he needs to count as 2 more stones to throw, and he needs to make one of those 2 count. LeFort's got to just peel the guard, kick out the blue rock, and stiffs it, and basically exchanges the one that was outside of the house with the one that was there. So, of course, the one that was in the 8-foot area replaced there with the one that was outside of the house. So now the team will get together here. They still have 1 timeout left, 3:42 and counting here for the Mayflower Curling Club, Stefano Sokolic. So you know that they're going to make a play here on the yellow stone to sit 2. Of course, he has the hammer here in end number 10. So a couple of, you know, I guess you could say misses. In fact, definitely the missed shot there, try to remove the guard there by McKenzie, and then the jam there by LeFort. That's kind of, well, got things a little bit quiet here at the Lakeshore Curling Club here in Lower Sackville. Well, you can see the intensity go up, so they must be close to this one. You could hear Sokolic screaming and removes the yellow stone to sit 2. Tough double there for LeFort for sure on his last one. You could hear they're wondering if we're going to call timeout, and I think they have. Yes, Mr. LeFort, Yvon LeFort will make his way, so good timeout here to take. That's basically the tying points in the house already, and still 1 to come. So even if you nose hit one, you're still, he could nose hit and tie it and force it to an 11th end. Best thing you could do is try to out-count that second one. Let him have his one would be pretty well my thing. But let's see if we could actually eavesdrop on the conversation here of Team LeFort. And just as soon as we get a chance, Yvon LeFort will make his way back to his coaching box here and going by our broadcast location. But as I said, these... And, well, nice piece of eyes there by Grondin, as actually he found a piece of broom and he put it right off the ledge. That could have been easily gotten onto this sheet, but he picked it up, and that's the last thing you want, is a shot to be determined by a piece of debris or even one of those old curling brooms. And LeFort with his last without hammer here in end number 10, up by 2. Looking at 2 blue stones belonging to Sokolic. Oh, he almost got that second stone. Didn't quite have the angle to do it, and pretty well simple here for Sokolic. A draw for 2 and an extra end. And you can see that Weigel was really careful trying to make sure once you find one piece of debris on the ice, making sure that there's nothing more that comes out. Making sure that the path is clean here for the Mayflower Curling Club's last throw here in 10. Sokolic got 1 in the first, 1 in the fourth, stole 1 in the fifth, got 2 in the 8th. Now looking at a draw for 2 to get it to an extra end. Grondin, Kessler, working hard here. Making sure that the path is clean. Looks pretty good here. As I said, all he needs is a piece anywhere. Now Weagle's coming in. Now he says no, and it will come to a stop. And you heard it, 2 blue. So LeFort will have the hammer here in the extra end. 7-7. You can hear Weagle ask, do we get a break? Nope, we'll just keep on playing.
Where's the grapes?
Says, where's the grapes? The LeFort team looking for some fruits and refreshments as the coaches will come back in. So they'll have a little bit of a breather here for the 11th end, but wow. The thing is, this was basically sort of the way that this game has gone. It's been back and forth. Each team have a little bit of momentum. They take a beautiful shot here of the Lakeshore Curling Club here in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Of course, the team that is, this is the host rink here for Jamie Murphy here, the defending Nova Scotia men's champion. And want to talk about him is that he's got a new third this year. It's Paul Fleming, and Fleming, of course, is one of the coaches here for the team Ryan Abraham here, who won their match here against Justin Gray earlier here today. So that should be interesting, and looks like they haven't missed a beat. Jordan Pender moving back to Miramichi, New Brunswick, still going to do his photography stuff, but see if Murphy and Fleming can get another championship, and that will be held Tuesday, starting Tuesday, January 9th here. Full coverage here on Bell 5 TV1. Going to be from the Dartmouth Curling Club. Downtown Dartmouth. Of course, we've had the honor of being at the Mayflower Curling Club, the Halifax Curling Club for events. So first time going to be in Dartmouth in quite a while, if my memory serves me correct. So to get everybody up to date on what happens here so far, Sheet B, Matthew Manuel over Ethan Young. Last score they have of that is 4-1. Of course, that score hasn't been updated there, and the no score put on the board for the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Of course, that was a tough one there for the for Logan Sweeney out of the Yarmouth Curling Club, taking on Graham Weagle. Weagle came in number 1 ranked in the junior curling standings. A tough one for them. 10-1 the final there for that one. So far right now, as teams have just a little bit of a break. It wasn't much of like the 5th end break. A chance here to get some refreshments here, and LeFort will have the hammer here in the 11th. So pretty well, all that the LeFort team is pretty much asking for is just to keep the path clean and keep the sheets clean, and make sure that I can be able to get the 4-foot area there to get my points here. What a dandy of a game this has been, back and forth. Of course, we're not done because we've got action with got more going on. As we are into the 11th end here from the Lakeshore Curling Club and Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia, here at the 2017 AMJ Campbell Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships on TV1. My name is Dan Hobson, and this has been a dandy call here for you. As I said, this has been a back and forth, and right now you always have to say that the team that has hammer in in the extra end definitely has a little bit of advantage, but we've seen things where they've came up short, so. Of course, some of the provinces have already got their teams have punched their ticket to the junior championships in Shawinigan in January. Team New Brunswick, Liam Martin out of the Thistle St. Andrews Curling Club out of St. John. Team Newfoundland Labrador will be skipped by Daniel Bruce. Team Northwest Territories, Saar Kaiser out of the Fort Smith Curling Club. Team Nunavut, David Gluckart. I don't know if he's any relation to Susan and Gluckart, the singer, but definitely from the same neck of the woods. And for Team Yukon, Joe Wallingham out of the White Horse Curling Club. And all the guys here, including these two teams, hoping to represent Nova Scotia at Shawinigan at the Blue Holland Junior Curling Championships. And once again, they will be taking place January 13th to 21st. Coming up to 4 minutes left to go here into thinking time, so it seemed to be okay in terms of time here for both of these teams. They're under the 4-minute mark. Gotta wonder, you get into these situations, who does it favor? Does it favor the LeFort team, or does it favor the Sokolic team out of the Mayflower Curling Club? And they try to come around those two guards, and they will successfully do that. Can they get the stop there in time in front of the tee line? Nope, it's going to go towards the back and sail right on out. So advantage here for the Sokolic team. Pretty well are in steal mode. There's just no doubt about it. They have to steal here in the end. LeFort hammer here in the 11th and extra end here from the Lakeshore Curling Club in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Trying to brush hard. Looks like it's starting to dig in. Are they going to kiss that guard there out front, or is it going to come up short? It will come up short, but they'll definitely blocking the path, and this is kind of the what LeFort did not want. He sort of wanted the easy access to get his shot here in the 11th end, and now, of course, with the free guard zone, he couldn't remove some of this stuff, but he's definitely looking here at least trying to get rid of some rocks, as well as even, well, if you can, at least split something up here. Try to get a little bit of opening, because now you're basically asking your skip, as it is right now, to go either in-turn or out-turn side of the little bit of shrapnel in front. So Coach Rohr will just try to get rid of some guards, and he doesn't want to stick around, but he will nose head, at least open up some of the sheet. The question is, did he roll over enough to block that yellow towards the back? Yes, he kind of sort of did, but definitely right now, as I say, this could change, because the sport does change as much as it does. It's got at least one half of the sheet open here for LeFort. That's all they're just trying to do, is keep it clean there so that he could have a shot here. As we take a look at Kessler here in the 11th. You could hear Weigel saying all the way, both the heads down there are of Grondin and Sokolic. Well by those guards there, trying to get something buried in behind the shrapnel out front of the house. Working hard. Can they get it to the 4-foot area? No, we'll stop. Center line, 8-foot area. shot rock belonging to Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club. That's what they see, probably about half a rock. Got to be careful there because this is careful of the jam. There's that yellow one there in the back, so they don't really want to get rid of that. Couture now. McKenzie and McNutt. They'll push the yellow towards the side and the blue out of play. And if you're going to stick something, stick a guard, that's a good spot for it to be there if you're LeFort, because that's right to the side. It's not going to hurt you there, and it still leaves things open there for your last shot. So that's not really a bad shot. Probably not, definitely probably the curling audible is what you maybe want to use that term as, but it has made it so that it's opened things up a bit. Of course, they're taking their time. They're at 2:49 and counting here as we're into the third rocks here. It is the Scott Weigel who holds the broom and throws third rock here for the Stefano Sokolic team, the Mayflower Curling Club, and not even a wink. So this is all by himself here. Weigel, teammates optional, starts to dig in. Grondin there, pardon me. With a little bit of a scrub. As you see, got that blue one buried there, but this looks like it could be run back. So LeFort now just saying wanting the big weight and try to get rid of everything, clean some stuff up in front of the house. This is not how he really wanted this 11th in to go. As McKenzie throws the big weight. They can say, whoa, 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 they're off of it, so it must be close. Gets a piece of the rock out front. And the shooter goes as well. Not sure if he was trying to do the run back to get rid of everything or if he was just trying to clean things up. I mean, the thing is that the rocks in front of the house don't really benefit LeFort here. So if they can clean that stuff up, then that would be good. So probably see Weigel throw up another guard here, try to block that blue stone in there. Not a brush laid to it again. Weigel has been pretty well good with his weight all game long. This looks like it may come in and may go a little bit deeper to what they want, so now they're going to try to bump it and try to separate the two. Did they get enough separation? That's the question, because LeFort, look at that, just like that, the double is there. Knows a piece of that one that's just a little bit higher than the one that's touching the 4-foot area and spill that out. So definitely a missed opportunity there as the shot went long there for the team of the Mayflower Curling Club, and McKenzie going to throw the big weight, trying to get the double there to get rid of some blue shrapnel in the house right now. LeFort has the hammer here in 11th. Well by the guard. Oh, gets a piece of the blue and pushes it towards the side. The Sokolic team now lying 2. A chance there to probably maybe, seen that a lot from McKenzie, not afraid to throw the big up weight, but just sometimes he's flashed a couple of times, and boy, what a time to do that. So once again, there's a chance. He's got 2 options here. You could probably put another one in the house, maybe put it on the other side of the top 12. Right close to where that yellow guard is on the outside there. Have 3 and prevent the prevented possible double there for LeFort. Or he can guard that one. See what he does here as we're into the 4th stone here. Sokolic out of the Mayflower Curling Club, the 4th ranked team in the province. Probably were the favorite coming into this one against the LeFort team out of Sydney, but LeFort has made some great shots and has really made this not an easy afternoon here for the team out of the Mayflower Curling Club, as he will guard the one in the 8-foot area, and you can see that Yvon LeFort will be brought out to the ice as the timeout's being called here by the LeFort team, and he'll go by our broadcast location. What would you say, about 10 seconds, Chuck, there till he's in our picture? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, he's going to go the long way, so it'll be longer than 10 seconds. Anyway, so he'll make his way down. Time okay on his side. He's got 2 minutes, 23 seconds. Sokolic 1:11, so they're all right for time. Sokolic only has 1 more left to throw. Usually at the curling events, kind of the curlers have a little bit of post-game grub there. It's provided by the curling clubs, and these teams, of course, are going to be last in line. All the other teams have been out there and have played their game and have already probably had their snacks, and these guys are still going steadily and even had to work a little bit of extra overtime to a little bit of extra overtime just to try to come away with a victory here to go 1-0. Of course, the women's draw coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. As you see, nice shot there. 1:11 left and 2:23 left. So they're all right in terms of thinking time, as the timeout is going to come to an end. And the clock will start right now as the official there, just out of the range of our cameras there, puts his hand to indicate the play continues on, so the clock will start. LeFort here with the hammer in end number 11 with his first. And they're working hard here. McNutt, Couture, the front end, McKenzie calling the line. LeFort there giving some instructions as well, as they are going to brush this as hard as they can, pretty well right straight out of his hand, and it will stop there. So it will be second shot, no doubt about it. Actually, it is shot rock. Second shot belonging to Sokolic, so they're going to have to do something with that yellow stone just thrown there by LeFort. But as you can see, there's half a rock, and now Sokolic will call timeout. So coach is getting a little bit of a workout. They just seem to sit down and then they have to go back out again. They have a little bit of a chuckle as they're going to make their way out to the ice area. It went right by us. You can see the seemed like we just already did this, and now they're back out there again. It's like when you're trying to clean the house at home and all of a sudden the phone rings. You sit down and think you have a chance to take a breather or something, and then the phone rings. Well, that's the case here in point right now. Get a chance to think you're going to have a little bit of a breather. Uh-oh, we got to get back up and get back out there again. There's lots in store here. And the thing is, too, is that they had to take the time out, because I was saying they had a lot of time. Well, now they're down to 58 seconds. That's thinking time. Really don't want to rush here, your last shot here. LeFort has 2:11 left. Yvonne LeFort had a conversation with his rink, and he's happy with probably the strategy that they're going to play out here on their final shot. He makes his way in as the timeout is over, so that's the thing. They needed to keep some time on the clock here for the last throw, and just with no hesitation, they called timeout. Just Sokolic called timeout quickly, just like that. Sokolic now just basically as a spectator. He's done all his work that he can. Hoping here, and you know that they're close, and he's really screaming hard. Hopefully they can try to get past some of those guards. They do. Can they get a piece of the yellow stone and roll in? No, he's got to hit his blue and raise his blue in to be the shot rock. As I said, he's done all that he could, and he's now giving handshakes to his taller front end, and they've worked hard. And Grondin puts his arm around Kessler out of camera view, but Sokolic was pretty happy with the shot. And you know pretty well here that LeFort is going to use as much time as he possibly can to set this up. The problem is that he's already used his timeout, and he's up to 1:30. But of course, he has only one rock left to go. Could he be in a situation where he could be rushed? Because he asked McNutt and Couture, what did you see? And you heard our microphones there at the level say buried, so. Well, that's the thing, he's got to get the button to 4-foot area. And not a lot of room to get there to do it. And he can't really raise the yellow because there's a little bit of a blue one, all it's going to do. So one way or the other, the game ends right here. Final stone, Sebastian LeFort of the Sydney Curling Club. The front end pushing hard here, trying to get it by McNutt, Couture. And it looks like he's going to be all over it. It's going to be a steal here for Sokolic. A come-from-behind win for him as he'll steal one here in the extra end to win 8-7 over Sebastian LeFort of the Sydney Curling Club. So, Jeremy Grondin, Max Kessler, Scott Weigel, Stefano Sokolic, and Jeremy Stewart, their coach of the Mayflower Curling Club, over Aidan McNutt, Reese Couture, Nicholas McKenzie, Sebastian LeFort, and Yvonne LeFort out of the Sydney Curling Club, 8-7. It's been a fantastic game. Glad you can join us. For our entire crew and our producer, Chuck Calder, my name is Dan Hobson. Thank you for tuning in. You have been watching the 2017 Nova Scotia Junior Curling Championships on TV1, presented by AMJ Campbell from the Lakeshore Curling Club. So long for now. Women's action coming up at 8.